lots of women, stepping by every night. Is this the coolest here? Hi, nice to see you. Hey, yeah, lost a few pounds. Lost a few pounds.
They got us backwards. They got us backwards. We won't know how to handle it.
Well, now I'm in the mirror, Christine.
Do these chairs go up and down?
Right here. You want to go up? Yes.
Thank you all for being here. At this time, I'll reconvene the La Quinta City Council meeting of June 4th, 2013. At this time, I'd ask that you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your hand over your heart and repeat with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And the first item on the agenda is public comments. Anybody wishing to speak on an item which is on the agenda, I'd ask that you please fill out a request to speak form. It's a form like this. It's back here, or no, I guess it's out there in the entranceway, and give it to our city clerk. At this time, anyone wishing to speak on an item which is not on the agenda may do so. And I do have a couple of requests for that, and then I will get to you.
Well, that's my request.
Okay, all right. Darla?
Yes.
Yes.
All
Come
right.
on up. And,
Good afternoon, everyone in council. My name is Darla Burkett. I'm the executive director of the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission in Indio, just a hop, skip, and a jump away. And I'm here tonight just to let you know what's going on with all the homeless talk around and the homeless counts coming out and the rise of the homelessness in East Valley. And that is true. The rescue mission in our new facility houses 150 men, women, and children every day in our residential shelters and 75 additional people every night. Excuse me. Since another shelter in the valley closed their emergency shelter, we have seen just a consistent rise of people. A large group of women and children, a large group of vets, a large group of seniors being displaced, and we're helping all of them come into the mission, turn their lives around, take care of the business that they have at hand through our case managers, through our counselors, and all of our staff, and get back out into society. And we're very successful with that. We graduate people through the system, and we have such a need. Even in our new facility, we used to care for 35 additional overnight people, but the growth has been so great that we're now up to 75 emergency homeless people every night. When I left today, the intake shelters were full. There was about 7 kids in the women's intake area waiting to get in. And there's more walking down the sidewalk coming in. So the rescue mission has come together to make the decision with our board of directors and our team and our supporters to build an annex shelter, which is on our old piece of property, to house the overnight guests, the overnight emergency shelter. Just getting over. Sorry. Anyway, we are building a 5,000 square foot annex shelter. This is a secular program to allow more people to come in. We'll move the staff over there, do the case management over there for this group of people. but we just can't fit them anymore in our gym. We just have run out of space, we've run out of the resources in that facility, and our gym is no longer being used for exercise or any events that we could have for money-making opportunities. The gym is currently just being used for overnight shelter. So that is what's happening at the rescue mission, and I'm here to ask the city of La Quinta and the council members if there's any funds available. We would greatly appreciate funds to help us with that overnight shelter project. The project is completely funded for building, so we need funds to run the shelter, because this was not in our original budget. This is filling a need in the community that we have that is great, and we're doing a really good job. We have a great team of people since we opened in 2011. We're successful, our bills are paid, and the need is greater than ever. So I'm asking you to consider a funding source. The City of La Quinta has been very gracious with us in the past, and if you could come forward and help us with this overnight shelter project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Darla, I think we will be dealing with that issue, with a little bit of that issue, a little bit later on this evening.
Okay, great. Well, if I can be of any question, my email's available to all of you. I'm on the website. My name is available to all of you. And
Darla, when do you anticipate this overflow location being completed?
it'll be complete in December. It's a Christmas present. It's going to be complete on December 20th. And Brian R. is our builder. So until then, we're just packing people in. We were full the other night. We had a lady with 6 kids come in, and my women's manager said, I've got so many people, I'm way over capacity, and we're just, we will not turn a family away or children away. So it's a great system that we have. They flow through the programs, they get the case management support they need. Sometimes it's as much as getting a bank account or getting some subsidy through the systems that are already in place that they just aren't aware of where to go. The veterans that we work with have just never had veteran services. They didn't know where to go, so they didn't know to dial 211. So it's just case managing these very dear and very grateful people in our society.
What's the cost of putting structure? You said
The cost of this structure is about $800,000, 5,000 square feet.
When you say that's fully funded?
It's fully funded through a donor.
Wow, you have a marvelous program.
Thank you very much. We're really honored to be there and to be part of the City of La Quinta. And I asked and been given a gift for the rescue mission in the past, and I just ask that you strongly consider this request. We're busier than ever before.
Darla, how many more will you be able to accommodate?
We can go up to about 105 people,
Oh.
but right now at 75, we're really pushing our luck.
So the extra 5,000 square feet will give you,
It'll give us a full day space, day center. We also are going to open up for hospitals and things like that to be able to do a light care center for people. Not a medical care center, but it will allow us, today we had 4 people, not from here, but from different areas dropped off in an attempt to get care. And there is nowhere for them to go, but they had just had a leg amputated. One was very mentally ill. We want to open up and expand into a care center possibly for those beds during the day as well. Currently, overnight services end at about 9 o'clock in the morning and they go on out for the day. Once they've received their case management, their shower, and their breakfast. And then we don't open up again until 3 o'clock today. But we're going to be able to do a lot more in this new center because we'll have the access, we'll have the space and the staff to help us.
thank you.
Thank you, Darla.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Wesley?
Over in the corner.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Les Algren, Coachella Valley Economic Partnership. Today I'm just here to give you a quick update on the Tom Genovese Memorial Scholarship. Last year, as you recall, his mom wanted to do something, Rosemary wanted to do something. She contributed some money, we matched it, and that went to a student. Student's doing great, by the way. This year she approached us again, we kept in touch with her. She's a great woman. And we said, let's do it again. So this, I want to make sure I get the name and everything right, but this Saturday we'll be awarding a scholarship to Eduardo Tapia. He's a La Quinta High student. He's going to get a $5,000 scholarship. He's going to go to Cal Poly and is pursuing a degree in engineering. So we're excited to be able to do that for Rosemary and for Tom, and thank you for your support.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Wes. Thank you, Wes. Anyone else wishing to speak on an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to a confirmation of agenda. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions by staff?
No, there are none.
By council members? Okay. Next is presentations. The La Quinta Public Library Quarterly Report for January through March. Little tight quarters.
I guess I've been elected to go first, and I'm from the museum, so we want to include the museum as well as the library in the quarterly report. And I'm pleased to tell you that our History of Golf in the Coachella Valley exhibit ended in the first quarter of this year. And we've recently opened the mysteriously enchanting Salton Sea with a bang. And I think what's been wonderful is that we are getting lots of visitors from throughout the entire valley. And I give a lot of credit to the Desert Sun, who ran a full-page article on the cover of the Desert Life section a couple Sundays ago. So we're not just getting La Quinta and environs, but people from much further away. And that's wonderful because a lot of those folks have never been to the museum before. And that's one of the things that we strive to do, is to bring people to La Quinta and the museum. So they're coming to see the exhibit and they're coming for lunch. So that's great. Our summer programming this year is going to focus on elementary school children. And what we're doing is we're doing a Korea summer camp for kids, focusing on the Korea culture here in La Quinta. And we will immerse the kids in an experience where they can pretend they were part of a Korea family several hundred years ago. We'll talk about where did you sleep, where did you eat, what kind of chores did you have, what did you wear, all the kinds of things that we hope kids of elementary school age will be interested in. There's still a few places in our summer camp, so if you know anybody who's of elementary school age, we encourage you to call the museum and register. It starts next Wednesday. Thank you.
Afternoon, Council. Library things are going really, really great. And one thing I kind of wanted to, I don't know if you noticed on this report, I added something new, that a statistic that had not been available to me. And it's those people with La Quinta borrowers who are accessing the library through our website, and they're also placing their requests online and then coming into the library to pick their books up. So, as we're moving out more into the electronic age, we can really see where this is also applies to the libraries. We have great educational databases, and whenever I make a school presentation, I make sure students know that they can start their library research from the classroom, or they can do their homework or their studying in their jammies at night. So, interestingly, over the month of May, we had only 300 more items requested in the library than requested replaced online. So it's a major change in the way libraries are doing business. And we are also getting ready for all of our summer activities. I've been visiting schools, and today we have some classes coming to the library. And so we are, everything right now is just kind of geared to make sure we are ready for summer. We're having our performers Thursday at 3. We have a fantastic reading incentive plan. And this year we're also adding a baby program, and we are issuing a 5-book challenge for everybody that uses the library to come in, read 5 books, and name will go, anybody that reads 5 books, their name will go into a drawing for. So, like I said, lots happening.
If I could, I think that it's because a lot of folks out there don't have this report. I think the number that is always amazing is that The circulation number for the first quarter was 62,032 items. And I think when you hear that number, then you get some kind of a concept of how busy that place is.
Yes.
62,000 in 3 months, so job well done again.
Thank you. This morning, we had 69 people attending a baby program, and we had 55 for our preschool program.
How
So,
many
I mean, that
babies
was-
did you have?
Well, it was, it's interesting because sometimes you'll have one baby and 3 adults because they just like to watch the little ones do the stuff. But we can't do that program in the storyroom because it's like too loud and too many people, back and forth. And so the whole section in front of the storyroom was filled with people. So it is a very successful program, but it only lasts 15 minutes, and that's really good.
Yeah, they don't have any.
And I always laugh because there were those, before we built the library, that says, we don't need a library. Everybody is under the internet now, so no, we don't need a library.
We are so vindicated.
I don't know where they are now because they never come up and said we made a mistake.
Right. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Job well done.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent calendar.
Well, minutes.
Minutes first.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Motion to approve minutes of May 21st.
May 21st, right. Do I hear a second?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
move to second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, now we'll move to the consent calendar.
Move consent calendar.
Second.
Move to second, please vote. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Forget, we don't have a button here. Okay. All right, now we'll move on to our business session. We have a couple this evening. The first one is Community Services Commission Work Plan for fiscal year 2013-2014. Staff report, please, Edie.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. This work plan has been approved by the Community Services Commission. It directly aligns with the municipal code in terms of the things that they wish to work on for the next fiscal year. So I'm going to run through all of those items with you. And then we do have the chairman of our commission, Kathleen Fitzpatrick, here in the audience that is also here to answer any questions. But to begin my staff report, as I mentioned, they're going to be working on some very specific responsibilities this year. Each year, there is a marketing plan that's developed specifically for community services, for the parks, the recreation, the library, the museum, all those kinds of activities. And that will be completed and executed next fiscal year. Planning and development, the commission is going to work on any proposed park and recreation activities in the CIP this year. We do have the La Quinta Center that is proposed for expansion. We'll be looking at the Fritz Burns Pool, that's also in the CIP. And we also discussed, and Councilmember Osborne asked us to take a look at analyzing citywide recreation needs, so we're going to be doing that as well. And taking particular look at the north area of La Quinta about the kinds of programs that would be best suited there and take a look at that as an important element. We'll be also acting, they will be acting as a liaison to the community. They invite nonprofit service organizations to their meetings, both to learn more and to understand the services that are provided in La Quinta by our nonprofit groups, but to also just meet some of those grantees that have been awarded community service grants and understand the role they play in our community. They're involved in many community events. They are there to explain programs and share information. Some of those events next year include nature hikes, Christmas tree lighting in Old Town, Humana well-being events that are planned to be executed next year with Humana, Tales on Trails, teaching people about animals on our trails, the Easter egg hunt, which is in North La Quinta, the community picnic plans for Fritz Burns, and Moonlight Movies for the July event that we're doing in concert with the Chamber. There are other activities too. These are just to name some of the activities they'll be working on. The park management program includes taking a look at existing conditions of our parks along with our sports fields, and then working with the staff to make sure that we're doing everything we can do with our budget and to execute good park maintenance practices. They'll also be out there letting the public know about our Adopt a Park program that we initiated last year, and trying to get people to participate with that. There'll also be an advisory board to you. If there's any particular item you want them to look into, they would do that on your behalf, particularly with Parks and Recreation, but other areas that you would ask them to do. And then lastly, the Art and Public Places piece. We're going to be updating our Art and Public Places strategic plan, taking a look at that, reviewing the proposed artwork and its maintenance, making sure that's in good condition, and then supporting and promoting the cultural offerings in the city. So that concludes my staff report. That's the general elements of the work plan for next year. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and as I said, Kathleen is here as well, so thank you.
Good. Thank you, Edie. Questions of staff?
I do have one. I've been asked an awful lot about the Fritz Burns pool. Why doesn't it open more? Because it's warm here, so
I know.
and I kind of know what the answer is, but I'd like to hear from you.
Sure. We have an agreement, a management agreement with the YMCA, and our management agreement has a relationship in wherein they open it for facility rentals and groups, and that is done right now. Generally, the participation of the pool is low until school is out. And so school isn't out until it's out this week, and that's when we really start to see the interest. And so next Monday, for example, swimming lessons will be held morning and evening for working parents. Lap swimming, public swim, aerobics, and all of those things will be executed through the summer. And then what we really do see, we see a tremendous drop once children go back to school. We have some interest in lap swimming, and if we had enough, we would stay open for part of the year to do that. But right now, we just haven't seen the interest. It's a handful of people in the shoulder season.
Okay. And I'm thinking, some have commented, well, it's not really lack of interest. The hours aren't there, so there shouldn't be a
It is. We've tried to keep it open, and as a matter of fact, we've talked to some of the people, maybe some of the same people you have, about if we have these hours, can we get 5 or 6 people there swimming? And so we'll do that, and even open at 5:30 in the morning, but they just don't, the numbers aren't there.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, in regards to the community events, and you've got a number of them stated here in your report, things like the Christmas tree lighting and human well-being, and Easter egg hunt, community picnic, birthday party, and so on. Of those, what is going on in Norfolk?
The Easter egg hunt's the biggest.
Okay.
We also do a event called the Junior Youth Olympics with the YMCA, and that's held at Colonel Mitchell Page. And that's also held in the season. That's a growing event that we've really been focusing on with young children. So those are the 2 main ones. We really try to focus on the young kids. In terms of programming, Councilmember, we have a joint use agreement at the high school to run some programs there in the evenings, and we're looking to see what kinds of things would be appropriate to run there for young mothers or family type activities at that location.
At one point, there was talk about like the city birthday party, one year being there, one year being here. Have we continued that?
We haven't continued that, and one of the reasons that we didn't is that park is very, very large. I mean, when we put our birthday event in that park, it looks like it's very small and we don't have good attendance.
And no shade.
And no shade. So we had those issues there when we moved it there. So we were taking a look at where we get the best numbers and the best participation, and it seems to be in and around the campus area. So that's why we chose to move it. But we certainly can look at trying to do more events in the
We'll have
local
more than
area.
those 2 events in Norfolk going into the future.
And there may be others. We may be able to look at in the next fiscal year, or take a look at what other kinds of activities the North area would like to see.
Thank you. do you see any changes in the park management plan from 2012-13 versus 2013-14? You got, do you see any changes?
No, our budget's set for that. We still plan on doing some of the same things that we've done each year. And for information for the group, we spend particular time during the summer conditioning the sports fields in preparation for activities in the fall. And so we are actually working with Silver Rock to get deep tine aeration, fertilization, and make special improvements at the sports fields. The parks themselves are in good condition, with the exception of not overseeding, which is one of the decisions that we made last year to not overseed our parks. Everything should continue as is.
I should mention I was able to take a tour of the sports facilities with Steve and with Robert, and they're great facilities, and they did a terrific job. I really want to thank them for that. But in regards to, this plan and some being not overseeded, some are being overseeded, and the aspect of Adopt a Park, what is the program for the Adopt a Park? How are we going to get that out to the community?
Well, we already have a number of people that participated last year, and we've been in conversation with them. Many of them are seasonal people too. So generally, we start getting that word out in September, and people are talking to us. The dog parks, for example, are a good one. A lot of people that participate in the dog parks are seasonal. And so they actually, for example, at Seasons Park, took up a collection and provided some support for that particular facility. So I think the best word is to promote it. We talk about promoting it through the gym and promoting it through our email blast and looking for ways to, and then just people that we're in conversation with that use those facilities.
So is Adams Park, is that going to be reseeded or not?
None of the neighborhood parks are being reseeded, but Adams Park last year was adopted by the YMCA because the YMCA was at Vista Dunes. And so we're in conversations with them about having the kids come over and also pick up trash, let us know if there's a broken sprinkler head, and just pay attention. They weren't investing money, they were investing time. And so we'd like to see that continue as well.
Are you talking like the Rotary clubs or the Lions clubs or any of the community clubs in here in the city?
We sure would like to, and we'd be happy to do that because we had actually, when David Archer was the president of the Rotary Club, had a conversation about perhaps working together. And we'd be happy to follow up on that.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Yes, how's the skate park doing?
It's used. It gets used by kids.
Is-
Both of them actually get used by teenagers in the community.
But there was an awful lot of abuse with the one on the north side.
We have a continuing challenge to keep bicycles out of those facilities. I mean, it's a continuous challenge. We work with the code and we work with the police to make sure that doesn't occur. But we do have a lot of young kids that still continue to skateboard, and it is one of the amenities that young people do because it's still popular.
Did we put a camera on that?
Mm-hmm.
Does it do us any good?
It doesn't do us as good as we thought it would. And to tell you the truth, we have a lot of people. Let's take La Quinta Park, for example. When we have soccer practice on any night of the week, that park is full. There are a lot of people at that park, and when you put all those kids practicing, there's a lot of eyes on those kids at the skate park.
Right.
Which actually works great. It's the evening hours and the hours that when it's dark that we don't have as good an eye on that. And that tends to be when we have the most vandalism and graffiti.
How about the water feature? It also
We
took
continue
a
to
lot
be
of
challenged with that too. And again, that gets very heavy use, very, very heavy use. So that's another one. Those are popular things for families.
Thank you.
Linda?
Yeah, I only had a couple comments in terms of the Adopt Park as well. The more that we can do to promote that, I think that will give us an opportunity to be in front of folks about park maintenance in general in terms of overall education if things were to, adopt further in terms of our budget situation. And then maybe pursuing more with La Quinta High School as they're doing their expansion plan. I was just thinking, they've got a huge health academy program there and are building, the pseudo operating suite. And wouldn't that be great to get Humana kind of linked in with that as well for something else on the north side? that would be operated by them. I mean, it could be a low investment for us, yet a good return, and a similar with co-op, just like Desert Recreation District. And then in Arts and Public Places, we updated that, we've added a lot of art this past year.
Yeah, we just updated the map.
Perfect,
And it's
okay.
downloaded on the website.
That's perfect, okay. Yep, because just, I was thinking about that when I toured the new Khalil Bay Alzheimer's Center with a little grandpa and son. It's just thinking, we've got to start making the rounds and take a look at all the other art that we've invested in and are showcasing. So, no, excellent plan. Thanks for staying at budget, and strong work to a very involved commission. So Kathleen, we appreciate the leadership you've provided over the years, and to the group that is there to support us in representing the city. Thank you.
I did ask you too, when I'm talking about, or you actually brought up the horses at the Griffin Ranch, and there was, I think the Romance, is it called, was inside,
Right.
and it's now outside.
That's
It's
right.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
look
part
at
of the
that and
project.
see,
We worked with
yeah.
3 or 4 different groups to get that from inside out,
It's out, yeah.
visible in the public.
It's really nice.
Just a quick comment. Last week, I got a call from one of your neighbors complaining about the dog park. And I talked to our community services department. Within the next day, it was corrected. And he called and thanked us for quick response on a couple of complaints. So thank you for doing this. Little item on the consent calendar. I talked to Frank about it, and it was this monument or whatever art piece that we're going to do at the roundabout, and that's something to look at. And I thought, you know, we won't get this thing probably until the end of the year, and I don't mind that we go out for bid on the thing, but I was thinking that if we could hold off on that until the Arts Festival, that maybe there might be a piece at the Arts Festival which could benefit us by utilizing, and the Arts Foundation, by utilizing that. Maybe not, I don't know, but it might be something to consider in the future, that maybe at the Arts Festival, that there would be a piece that would be appropriate. I don't mind us going out for bid and doing it now, but before we make that decision, I'd like to kind of look at what is going to be presented at the festival.
Maybe we do that. Maybe I hold off on the RFP.
And I think it can
until
be,
a later
because it'd be
date,
one of
and then
the
we
last
see-
pieces to go up.
We could see what
on the
is
roundabout.
at the show, and if you don't find something at the show, then we put the RFP out. We'd be happy to,
Great
we'll
idea.
do whatever you want to have happen on that project. We just have a community that would like to see a piece of artwork there, and so, we wanted to respond.
Way to
I
go.
like the local focus though too, just, we've got so many artists that are in the code. Look at the museum exhibit that featured kind of the unknown, so to speak, and I think amongst them, we might be able to come up with
That's coming
something
at the
that.
end.
Yeah, if we can bring somebody locally,
Right,
that's
that'd be
even
better.
better.
Somebody resides.
Well, I'll take your information and
Sure.
we'll hold off before we do anything with that right now.
I don't mind us getting stuff in and taking a look at it and let the commission look at it. But before we make the final decision, if it's within a reasonable time frame, that we can maybe take a look at what's available. Like I say, if we can help the foundation, then so much the better.
We'll slow that down and coordinate that effort.
Just so we have clear minutes, since you've already acted on that under
Oh,
consent
no,
two,
no,
you might want to reconsider that if you're giving alternative direction.
No, I'm just saying, take a look at it. We don't have to, it has nothing
We
to do
approve
with
the
that,
bid
it's
process.
just something that we've talked about right
It's just
now.
the speed of the bid process that much.
Okay, as long as everybody's clear.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
My direction, just to be sure, my direction would be to slow it down.
Yes.
I'm saying go ahead with what
Yeah.
we've approved.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
We can
stop
send
what
out an
we've
RFP.
approved already,
Yeah.
just as an alternative suggestion.
Very good, thank you.
Anything else by council?
Well, then, Mr. Mayor, I'll move to approve the Community Service Commission work plan as presented.
Second.
Then moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Move on, okay, move on to our second item, and that's a resolution of the City Council of the City of La Quinta, California, authorizing the issuance and sale of subordinate tax allocated refunding bonds in 2 series, and authorizing certain other actions in connection therewith.
Well,
Staff?
I'll start this off because we're waiting for our bond team to come on in. That way we can take up where we left off last time.
Front row, Billy, front row.
You up front seat?
Uh-huh.
I noticed how no one is sitting there. Is there a reason for that?
It's the splash zone.
The hot seat.
The splash
Nobody
zone.
ever sits in the front row.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, where's the rest of is the rest
Oh,
of the team?
he's right behind me.
I'll get the ball rolling here. Basically, as we discussed at the last successor agency meeting, we were introduced an opportunity to save up to $1.2 million a year in bond debt service costs or bond payment costs by refunding $197 million of the former redevelopment agency's bonds. At that time, you said move forward to do this because you were intrigued by the $22 million worth of savings, of interest cost savings that we will achieve over the next 20 years. And that cost savings then is benefiting the taxing agencies and others because then they get to avail themselves to that money as well as the city. So today we have Robin Thomas of Southwest Securities with us and Bill Marty-Carina of Rutan and Tucker, who is the bond underwriter, bond counsel, and Robin is the bond underwriter. And we have a series of actions here that we're requesting you consider, starting at the City Council, then moving to the successor agency, and then moving to the Finance Authority pertaining to this. And I'll turn it over to our exalted advisors and see if there's any additional comments you'd like to add.
I think for myself, I know, Councilman Osborne, you were asking about cost of issuance, and it's a big number, and I mentioned to you that we have been very conservative. We need to present this to the State Department of Finance, and we only wanted to show it to them once, so we wanted to make sure that there was lots of wiggle room in interest rates and costs. Mr. Spevsik asked us to go back and tighten up a little bit, and we were able to do that. We were able to get $500,000 out of the cost of issuance, so we've gone from 4.3 to 3.8, and I still think we're conservative, 2.2% to 1.9%. So I'm happy to report that because I know that was a concern. Market's been a little off the month of May, but again, we're so padded in our interest rates, I think we're fine. The treasury market seems to be dragging everything up with it, and I'm not sure exactly why that is, but hopefully that'll settle down. But as long as we don't slide much worse, we should be fine. We have to give the State Department of Finance 60 days to look at it, 5 days in which to review, and then another 60 days in which to look at it. We're hoping we can plod them along a little bit because the sheer dollar numbers and savings, they wouldn't be doing their jobs if they mess around with what's now $22.5 million worth of savings. So, any questions?
No, just verify again that the bond principal will be reduced by $5 million. So this isn't adding
500,000. The savings are 500,000.
savings, but the bond payment date,
Oh,
the
yes,
final
yes.
maturity date will stay the same.
This-
The outstanding bond principal
Correct.
amount
Correct.
will be
Interest-
reduced. So we're not adding
No,
debt to
you're
everything that
absolutely
we're
not.
doing
You're actually
here.
reducing your overall outstanding principal amount by about $5 million.
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Help.
Lee?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, in regards to interest rates are starting to go up. The 2-year federal T-bill is about 2.2%.
Yes. The
So-
10-year, I think, was about a 2.14, 2.15.
Right. So, are these bonds, I mean, if we redo these bonds and some of these rates, and again, I mean, the market's, I'm sure, looking very strong at where these rates are going, where they're gonna be in the next 5, 10 years and so forth. Where do you guys see the market for this? I mean, do you see the market that we can make almost a pre-sale, so to speak, before we go through the whole refinance, so to speak? That we have a good feel that we're gonna be able to sell the bonds? I mean, that's my
Yes,
concern.
yes, we have a good feel. We've done,
Bonds will be sold.
we've done post redevelopment since 1484. We've done refinancings, various sizes. In fact, we closed ones today at about 22 million. Their savings were extraordinary. I think their average interest rate, a little shorter than yours. They went out 10 years. You go out 20. Their average interest rate was a 2.40. Yeah. So I think we're fine. Obviously, we won't market if rates move out of our range. We'll have to sit tight and take another look at it. But then the next key will get the rating to see where the rating analysis comes in. The Quinta's been right around the A plus area for, gosh, the last 10 or 15 years. I expect we'll be there again. And that's right in line with those interest rates. The financing I was speaking of was for Upland, right down the street. So they were also an A rated, and they also got the insurance. So it was really a good test case, both from interest rates and from an investor interest standpoint, and we're terrific.
When would we be going to the market?
Well, we have to get
Test
that.
the water, so it's.
We have to get the State Department of Finance.
I understand.
So probably the end of July, we'll go through our rating process. 1st of August, middle of August.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
As long as our local agency here doesn't act like the IRS, right?
Parish
Here you go.
265 days later, we're sitting here saying, where's our document?
Linda?
How many times have we done this in the last, I don't know, 10 years or so?
Well, let's see.
Restructure.
I can tell you, it was in my head. We did 2 financings in '98, one in 2001, 2, 3, 4, 7, and then 2011.
So for those that are wondering why this is happening, this is a repeat pattern when the opportunity arises, and it's an opportunity for us to, again, lower debt, better rates. I mean, I support the presentation as it stands, and I'm glad you shaved off another $500,000 on that.
Yeah.
The cost of issuance. So if you can find any more, that's great.
We'll work on that. And I think there may be more.
Good, good. No, I don't have any other questions.
Christie?
No, I've gone over this at length with Frank, and I'm pretty clear on everything, and it's a good move, I support it.
Yeah. No, it's good for the city. It's a good move.
And all your taxing agencies, everybody benefits.
We do that.
That's good
It's a
timing.
win-win situation.
State litigation.
Yeah.
Good. We'll use that.
Unless there's anything else, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, well, with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll move to approve resolution number 2013-.
0280.
Thank you. A resolution of the City Council of the City of La Quinta, California, authorizing the issuance and sale of subordinate tax allocation refunding bonds in 2 series and authorizing certain other actions in connection therewith.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Do you have anything more on that?
No, it's not on this agenda.
All right, at this point then, I will recess the city council meeting to the city as successor agency to the dissolved La Quinta redevelopment agency. And so at that point, I'll call to order the successor agency and let it be known that all agency members are here. We have no closed sessions. Public comment, anybody wishing to speak on this item? And do so at this time. Seeing none, we'll move on to confirmation agenda. Any changes by staff?
No?
By agency members? Okay. No presentations, no written communication. I'll ask for approval of minutes of May 21.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then move on to the consent calendar.
Move the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we'll move on to the business session, and that's a resolution of the successor agency to the former La Quinta redevelopment agency authorizing the issuance and sale of subordinate tax allocating refund bonds in 2 series, approving the form of the indenture of the trust first supplemental indenture of trust official statement, bond purchase contract, continued disclosure agreements, form of escrow agreement and related documents, and authorizing certain other actions in connection with it.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just provide a brief explanation for all. You took an action as the City Council because the City Council has the supreme authority over the issuance of these bonds. because the bonds are now held by and are an obligation of the successor agency due to the demise or redevelopment, we're asking for you to now take similar actions relating to your authority as the successor agency to move forward and take the next step to issue these bonds. So it will actually be the successor agency and the finance authority, and I'll get to that later, who will be doing the bond transactions. And so that's why we're requesting for you to take this action now. And since most of these items are typically occur at the very end of the City Council agenda, and we have 3 public hearings tonight, we requested that you take it in this order so we can move this along and not have people wait here till dark 30 in case they are long public hearings.
Okay, good. Thank you, Frank. Questions? Entertain a motion.
Okay, I will move to approve resolution number SA 2013-004, resolution of the successor agency to the former La Quinta Redevelopment Agency, authorizing the issuance and sale of subordinate tax allocation refunding bonds in 2 series, approving the form of an indenture of trust, first supplemental indenture of trust, official statement, bond purchase contract, continuing disclosure agreement, form of escrow agreement, and related documents, and authorizing certain other actions in connection therewith.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
At this point, then, I will adjourn, or no,
Move adjournment.
Second.
okay. Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. At this point, then, I will call to order the special meeting of the Financing Authority for Tuesday, June 4th, 2013. Let it be known that all authority members are present. Public comment. Anybody wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll move on to confirmation of the agenda. Are there any changes by staff?
Nope.
By agency members, authority members, excuse me? Seeing none, then we'll move on to approval of minutes of May 21.
So moved.
Second.
Move to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Consent calendar.
Move the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll move on to the business session, and that's a resolution of the La Quinta Financing Authority authorizing the execution of the escrow agreement. Staff report?
Just one final note on this. As mentioned in the recommended action, a portion of the bonds that would be refinanced are related to the 2004 housing bonds. Those bonds were issued by the financing authority, not by the former redevelopment agency. And as part of that transaction, there was a loan agreement between the former redevelopment agency and the finance authority. It's now a loan agreement with the successor agency, where the revenue from the former redevelopment agency pays debt service on these bonds. So because we're requesting the authority to refund the 2004 bonds, the financing authority now is being asked to take this recommended action.
Is there a test on these
Yes. We're going to ask Dave here from the Desert Sun to give this all back to us.
Questions?
Are you ready? I move resolution 2013-001. Resolution of the La Quinta Financing Authority authorizing the execution of the escrow agreement.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'll ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, at this point, I'll reconvene the La Quinta City Council meeting of Tuesday, June 4th, 2013. We'll move on to the study session. The first item, we have 3 on the study, 3 or 4? 4. First item on the study session is marketing strategy for 2013-2014. Staff report?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, Preston Marsden is going to walk you through the marketing strategies that we have this evening, and we hope to have lots of questions from you. So with that, Preston?
Yeah, good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. We're here today to discuss the latest and greatest marketing strategies for 2013-2014. The strategies outlined in the attached report are broken down into 3 categories. Traditional, which includes the print and the radio. Digital, which includes websites and social media. And then the public relations and event partnerships. As you see, the budget remains at $210,000. Last year's marketing budget was approximately 80% traditional to 20% digital. And the strategies before you look a bit different, as we are going to be splitting that budget into half traditional and half digital. I want to spend a few minutes with you to go over these strategies to get your feedback on the changes that we're presenting. Most of this information will be familiar to you, but I want to take some time to explain these new items in detail. Before you'll see the listing of our target markets. This includes adults with disposable income, affluent couples, empty nesters, and retirement prospects, young families, part-time and seasonal residents, people who like to travel, attend events, and may relocate to our city, and different geographic regions, including the Coachella Valley and our drive-in markets. This is our traditional efforts, and we recognize that print and radio are still very important mediums, and with the help of FG Creative, we've determined that the most critical programs and the programs that have worked well for us in the past, and we want to continue these efforts. So, as you'll see in the report, we have a cooperative marketing program, our local marketing campaign, the CBA cooperative advertising, Palm Springs Light advertorial, the tourism and events brochure, and just a piece about that. There's over 160 outlets that this goes out to, including hotels, city facilities, different visitor centers, and in rack card holders valley-wide. Also, you'll see the GEM. Also new this year too in the GEM, the city scene will be included in 10 issues of the GEM, with the city scene pages going dark in July and August. But we'll also now include the city newsletter in the January issue. We also have the La Quinta shopping map update as well as part of the traditional efforts. Moving along.
Wait, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so the glossy city update thing we got, are we still doing that, or is it just going to be in the GEM?
It will be incorporated into the GEM, yes, into a spread in the GEM newsletter.
But it won't be going, we won't be sending it out like we used to?
No, we won't be sending it separately. We thought that it would be more cost effective to integrate it into the GEM and save the mailing costs and use that money otherwise.
Right, okay, and, this, I understand is in-house marketing? It's got custom? This is great. This is really, really great. It's an easy read.
Glad to like it.
And one thing I really like about it is you want to open it up because you want to see what's there. Yeah, and then you can grab it inside. Anyway, I'm pleased about that. Very good job.
Great.
Sorry.
No problem.
Is the shopping map specific to the app only? Where else is the shopping map?
It's on the Plain La Quinta website,
Yes.
and we want to talk about that a little bit further too.
Absolutely. So moving on to the Plain La Quinta website. So far, the city is off to a really great start in the digital world, but we'd like to do more to enhance our city in the digital world and reach more people that may or may not know that they want to be in La Quinta. So digital is the way of the future, and unlike traditional methods, digital advertising gives us measurable results. And we actually call these metrics. So metrics will give you very detailed information about the people who are viewing your digital content, and I'll give you all some examples of that in just a bit. But first up, we want to talk about the PlainLaQuinta.com website. This is our number one priority for us. And unfortunately, visits this year are down a bit, but we have outlined 3 methods to increase traffic to the site. The first is to increase our search engine optimization, and basically what that means is we want to make sure that when you type in La Quinta on any of your search engines, whether it be Google or Yahoo or Bing or whatever, that it will pop up in the top 3 that you'll see right off the bat. It's unlikely that our PlainLaQuinta.com website will be the number 1 site on the list, and that's simply because we're in direct competition with La Quinta Inns and Suites, and they've got a farther reach, a bigger budget, and so we're shooting for top 3 always, and currently our municipal site is usually number 2 in there as well, so we would like that to be equal. We also want to do a mobilization of our website. Smartphone sales in the United States are now up over 125 million, with Android phones owning 53% of the market, followed closely by Apple, 36%, and a few others behind. Because of this, it's recommended that we offer a mobile version of the website for people to stay connected to the web on their smartphones. A mobile website takes a very complex website. If you've seen our plainlaquinta.com website, it's got tons of graphics and lots of moving parts. It takes that and simplifies it into maybe 4 or 5 easy-to-click buttons on a screen on your cell phone. So literally, you click a button, it takes you to the events page. You click a button, it takes you to the dining page, or whatever page you're trying to find. Rather than having to wait for all of this stuff to load and try to figure out where to go, it's right there in front of you. And it is across platform, so it literally goes across Android and Apple and the BlackBerry and all of the fancy smartphones that are out there today. We also want to talk about the graphical interface redesign. This essentially is a facelift of sorts. To improve the interface, we want to add more interactive content, fresh updated graphics and images, and make it easier for people to access the information without having to drill down very far. This new redesign will also mirror our current theming and branding, and so this way it'll all have the same look and feel. Yes, between our print and our digital, we'll have continuity between those, so it'll all look very similar. So that's what we want to do for the website. Next on our list is what are called pay-per-clicks and pay-per-likes. I'm going to go ahead and try to do my best to explain this all to you and see how we get through this. But these are programs that are currently offered, that are currently done with FG Creative and the city staff. We've been pretty successful in increasing traffic to the website and the Facebook page by doing this. I know it's hard to see, but I want you to take a look at the image on the left. And what you see is a Google search. And the area specifically is the red rectangle. What a pay-per-click, also known as a PPC, what that does is it shows up an advertisement that looks just like a link on those websites shows up, and it basically, you'll say, come visit La Quinta, or whatever we have it set as to draw people in. It mirrors the same look as all of the other links, so that it's hard to tell that it's an advertisement. But you can tell there's a subtle little box around it. But that's what a pay-per-click does. And so when we have an account set up, and anytime somebody clicks on that, it reduces the amount in the account. So that's how a pay-per-click works. And as I talked about before with metrics, we actually get metrics on pay-per-clicks as well. And some of the metrics I'd like to share with you about plainlaquinta.com over the last year include that the average site visitor looks at 2 to 3 pages while they're on the plainlaquinta.com site. Over the past year, 85% of all of the users have been new to the plainlaquinta.com site. So that means that they haven't ever been there before. Most site visitors originate from a Google search versus a Yahoo search versus any of those other search engines. They come from Google, majority of them. And our most popular pages on the website are the play page, getting 15%, the events page, second, at 11%, and the shop page at 10%. So in that order, those are the most popular things that people are looking at. Next, I want to talk about the Facebook page and the pay-per-like program. Again, look on the screen on the right-hand side, you'll see kind of a generalized Facebook page, and you'll see the long rectangle on the right side. When you're on Facebook, it knows about you, knows certain things about you, how old you are, where you live, based on some of the things that you put in there. It knows some of your interests and some of the things you might be interested in. So generally what happens is this little side area populates with advertisements from businesses, agencies, and City of La Quinta. What we do is we promote events, we promote visiting the plainlaquinta.com website. We actually create shopping, dining, golf, all the tourism stuff. We create ads that are all year long and that pop up. Now we change those ads to reflect different events that are happening. For example, this week you'll find Restaurant Week advertisement on there for LaQuintaRestaurantWeek.com. And that'll take you to the Plain La Quinta website, which we have all those advertisements on. Another example would be in January. We're very heavy on the Humana Challenge, so we'll have a Humana Challenge link there that will draw people into the Plain La Quinta website to get their information from there. Some metrics about our Facebook page. I gotta tell you, it's very, very popular. The Facebook page, as of today, we're just shy of 14,000 fans. And it grows by 5 to 10 people per day that are fans of our page. 65% of the fans that we have are females. We know that. 52% of all of our fans are in the ages 25 to 44 range. Fans that we have on our site are mostly from the Coachella Valley cities, with LA, San Diego, and Northern California filling out the other top markets. Over 24,000 Facebook users see content that's related to our Visit La Quinta page per week. Postings receive an average of 10 to 20 likes and comments per posting. So what that means is anytime that we create content for promoting an event, or promoting dining at a restaurant, or promoting golf at Silver Rock, we generally have people that will click on that. They say that they like what we're talking about, or will make comments saying, can't wait to play there on Saturday. And it gives us an opportunity to interface with them. So we generally receive multiple comments on postings and a lot of likes. And then overall, the total impressions, or sets of eyeballs, if you will, to date are over 5 million. So what that means is that our fans, all their friends are seeing it, and all their friends are seeing it, and everybody else through the network, and it all gets connected back to the folks that are on the Facebook page. So we would like to continue promoting a Facebook and our pay-per-click programs, as we find that they're being very successful. Next, we want to talk about travel resources web ads. 2 out of 3 travel reservations now are made online, and that means that there's a lot of people using websites like Travelocity and Expedia and TripAdvisor and all of those other sites. This is another area that we would like to explore, and it's recommended to add a campaign across the major travel sites that I just mentioned. Take a look at the screen. Again, this is a little harder to see up here, but you'll see the red outlines on the 2 sites. This is just an example of what you might see on a travel resources website to bring people to La Quinta. Now, these aren't the actual ads you'll see. This is just a representation of what they would look like. But you would see them in that size, or they would be in other areas on the screen. But they'd be front and center right when you go on there. Visit La Quinta, sun is shining, especially in the wintertime in Wisconsin. We want people to know that we're here, and it's a beautiful time. We also next want to talk about, we don't have a screen for that, but last but certainly not least, we want to talk about public relations and event partnerships. A new component of this program is the community outreach piece, which started this year. It involves sending city staff to the farmers market to talk to the public directly in a kind of a less formal setting. Also, they've had meetings with HOAs and other stakeholder groups, and these have been very successful, and I know that the directors would like to continue this for the next year. Staff will also continue working with the marketing committee, made up of local business and agency leaders, to discuss opportunities to collaborate with the city and with each other. This group works together to identify ways to cross-promote events and programs that drive tourism and resident participation. They work collectively to determine co-op opportunities with each other and the city as well. Finally, another important piece is to continue promoting large-scale events such as the Humana Challenge, the La Quinta Arts Foundation events, the Chamber of Commerce events, and also attracting new large-scale active events. I hope I've kind of gone over that well enough, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Good presentation. Yes. Thank you. Questions of staff?
I've got a couple.
Okay.
It indicated, it's going back to the app then. It looks like we're kind of putting our app on hold while the new mobilization component is being
That's
developed.
correct.
What's that timing and crossover from?
Well, we're anticipate putting the app in the parking lot, if you will, sometime August-ish. We'll have the mobilized site somewhere between mid-August and September. It can happen that fast.
And is there going to be a notification for those folks that have downloaded so that they're updating or clicking the new
Absolutely.
version?
Yes,
Absolutely.
we'll work on that, yes.
And is there a way to interface the Plain La Quinta, the new app, with the Go request and or have something on the Go request saying if you want to download the new Plain La Quinta app, it could cross-market those, so if we're
Well, it's
recording
actually
something.
not an app. The Plain La Quinta it wouldn't be a new app, it's just a
It's gonna be a mobile
version of our website.
website.
Yes.
So is there some type of crossover interface that we can do between Go requests to capture people and or the Facebook piece to, you know, get on either side? If people are using Go requests, make sure they're click on that, and if people are using Facebook in this, make sure they're aware of the Go request
You know,
opportunity.
we'll talk to the designers and see if that's a possibility. I'm sure it is a possibility. We just have to kind of figure out in the back end how it make it work.
And then in terms of developing the whole website, is that part of the 210, or is that, I noticed it says we'll go out for an RFP later, is it gonna be
It
part
is.
of the 210?
It's part of the
Is that
210.
gonna take up too much of the 210 that we won't be able to utilize what we need for outreach and marketing and advertising?
Nope, it'll be half.
Budget?
It'll be half of that budget. We'll be able to get all the stuff done in the traditional marketing that we do with the 110 that we have.
Okay. All right. Just one little small correction, it's CVB now instead of CVA.
Well, it was CBA.
It was,
I
but
mean,
that was over a
you
year
know,
ago.
Well,
So,
It's
we'll
very-
pick up the times.
it can-
Well done, great
yeah.
job.
It is
exciting.
well done, and I wish you all a lot of luck. You have some challenges here and some excitement and exploring this new kind of world that we live in, if you will. And, you know, there's always that kind of challenge between all of the web stuff and still the written word and who's reading what and who's not reading what. And I don't think there's a magic answer to that. I think we still continue to need, you know, do both, and this looks like it'll be a pretty good mix. So thank you. Good reporting.
Okay. Lee?
Yes, thank you. Well, first, I'm really glad to see you're gonna put 50% of the website digital area. I mentioned it some months ago, I brought up La Quinta on the web, and it's like number 14 to play La Quinta. So we designed that, that website was designed, I think, back in 09, I wanna say, or late 09. So I'm really glad to see you guys can bring that up. I know a lot of times when we travel, it's nice just to punch in the city where you're gonna go to see what's there. And that Play La Quinta it's a great website. So to clean that up in itself, but then bring it up, like you're saying, in the list of those first 3 items, I think is a great idea. And the mobile app as well. I think that's pretty cool too. I mean, with the tourism, it comes down to the Coachella Valley as a whole, and they're on their phone and say, well, what's La Quinta? To be able to type in La Quinta on their smartphone and boom, there play La Quinta. I think that's going to add quite a bit. Say, hey, let's go over here and check this out. I think that's great. And you mentioned that continuity, that consistency between our print versus digital. And we go out to bid on the digital side, and if we have something other than print, we're going to need that consistency and continuity between the two. So it works. I want to thank what staff's doing on the farmers market. I think that is outstanding what you guys are doing on the farmers market, to go out there, talk with the people, and be there on the farmers market Sundays. I really think that's great. The marketing committee, is the Chamber of Commerce included in that?
Yes, David's at the meetings.
Great.
David and Christie and the Old Town's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've added Humana.
Yep.
Great. Now, the map, you know, you talked about the map. I know, you know, the chamber works on the map. And, sorry, yeah, for hot and warm. But the map, I hope that you guys can work with the chamber, get on the map side to work out to have one map. I know the city had a map that folded up pretty small.
Yeah.
And theirs was a lot bigger, and maybe we could work that out to have one map for everybody. One thing I did want to also state, in regards to the marketing strategies and the goals, last week I was able to go to the graduation ceremony for La Quinta High School. And La Quinta High School, in the grading of different high schools, is the #1 high school in their class in Riverside County. And I think that's tremendous. That is tremendous. And that is a great marketing aspect for people to understand when they're coming to La Quinta, the great schools we have. And they're rated, you know, top in Riverside County. So that's all my concerns, but just to, keep those in mind. Thank you.
Good. Christie?
I just want to echo what Lee was saying. Actually, everyone's a very comprehensive report, but easy to read, and it's very good, and it's I like the direction in which you're going. We're trying to keep up with technology here and keep ourselves on the forefront, so it looks very good. Good job.
So I guess I have one more question as a follow-up, I guess. I know that you can gauge how many likes, how many hits, how many pay-per-clicks. Have we tied the cost and the clicks to what that potentially derives from a revenue standpoint? Is the goal that because of X, this many hotel rooms be booked, or this many restaurant visits will occur? I mean, how are we really linking the ROI to the digital use?
You know, that's a very good question. We, and one of the people on our committee, our marketing committee, is the hotel. And so maybe that discussion can occur with them. We could identify how they're looking at that too, because they have done Facebook, and they are doing a huge amount of business online, and maybe they can help us with some of those answers. So let us take a look at that. That's not an easy question to
And I know
answer them.
JNS, I think, works with the CBB, and we're always measuring how many room bookings, how many leads, you know, based on all the website activity, and somehow it's equating to rooms booked and TOT revenue. So that might help moving 50% into that realm if we've got some identifiable metric, and if we need to then invest more in the future in our marketing budget, because it obviously has a high return, we can work on that down the road.
And we may be able to get some of that data from the marketing people at the hotel.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
working for them online, so that we could support that effort.
Yeah. It's a hard one, I know, it's
It
a hard
is.
one, but
Because
for every
it's a
dollar
secondary
spent.
question
Exactly.
coming from that, yes.
Okay.
You're not gonna cut back on your TV ads, are you?
Well, we haven't done TV in a year.
Well, I'm
Radio.
thinking of Challenge the Rock. I get a lot of comments on that from golfers
That will continue in the Silver Rocks marketing budget,
for silver.
and they sit on our marketing committee too, so yes. As a matter of fact, I think they've just updated the TV ad.
No, I think it's an excellent ad, really gains people's attention, especially golfers.
And
Good comments about it. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much. Report.
Good job. Still up here.
Nice to meet you.
Then we'll be out here.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one, and that's the review of videotaping the city council meetings. Staff report?
All right, so,
We see the numbers.
Yeah.
so, you know, we staff report before you is about the numbers and video recordings. To date, we've had 5 meetings recorded and uploaded to the website. Viewership is very low, and just so you all know, we did put into the budget $25,000 to continue with this program. However, the indexing, the agenda indexing was included in that. So if you all would want to continue that, we can certainly add that feature as well. But the numbers are low, and we'd like to know what your guys' feedback is to see if you want to continue.
Interesting, because you don't, it doesn't say how many hits were made by our own people.
Yeah.
Looking at
Several,
reviewing
some.
what was being done. So you can cut those back.
At least 4 or 5.
So you're wondering how many people out there really in our community are interested. I've said this from day one. If we had enough people that we knew would watch it, we'd be more than happy to televise it than that. But I'm thinking, we've gone ahead and spent some money to run a test case and that, but it just doesn't show where there's, that we're spending money properly, city money, in my opinion.
Well, I did the math on this. And
I was afraid to.
And it's like $32 per person per meeting, and it's just short of ridiculous. I'll have to agree with the mayor, if there was a lot of opportunity, or a lot of people getting a lot of hits, a lot of people viewing it, it would be different. We're in tight budget time right now, and this is something that I think if our citizens really, really wanted it, then they would go online and look at it. And again, what you said is that a lot of these numbers are staff when you're looking at viewers.
Some of them are.
But May 7th, we had 5 viewers. May 21st, 9. So, I mean, that's.
We're not looking at it, at least right now.
No.
I think we all, you know, think that it would be a nice program, but I've talked to members of city councils and city managers from other cities that do this, and they don't see it either. And they're spending a lot more money than what we have on promoting this.
If I can ask a question, how do we tell the public it's there?
Currently, we use Facebook and we do post it in the gym as well.
So we're letting them know via the gym and the Facebook that it is there if they want to look at it?
Correct, yes.
And is there any way they can take out the gray hair when they?
So how many times have you been on?
I've been on a couple of times, yeah, I
Oh,
think.
see?
Yeah, well, I have too. I
Yeah.
have gone on.
So
I certainly was sat there
Seventh
watching.
viewership.
No,
You were familiar with the
Yeah.
media, you've been there.
But I've been there. But my concern was also how are you getting the message out? And you say it's been in the gym and what else?
And on the Facebook page as well.
Looking at Club
Multiple.
Association.
Well, you
Every
multiple
time, yeah.
times.
Every time we post it,
Yeah.
yeah. Every time we post a new one.
With the link, so they can go right there.
And I do know that there was some feedback by one of these numbers here that was quite concerned because we weren't doing the
Indexing.
indexing.
Yes.
And the more I thought about that, the more I thought, you do this kind of a service so your community can become more involved in the activities and the operation of the city, not for somebody to have one purpose and one purpose only, go listen to that one purpose and decide whether they liked what they heard or didn't like what they heard and didn't pay any attention to the rest of the. Well, I mean, so they're really not learning from it if all they're really interested in is going to that one item. So then on the other side of that, I thought, well, I wanted to hear something on one of the ones I went to, and I thought, well, I'm not gonna sit here all afternoon waiting to get there, so the indexing would have been good. So it's kind of a mixed blessing, and there certainly is a community out there that demanded this, if you will, and I think that the initial program that we have, I think ought to stay one more year just the way it is, without doing the indexing or anything, and see if, it's been a very short period of time, and it's already in the budget, so I think that it deserves a full year's operation.
Well, we're still the only city that doesn't televise our meetings. So that initially was the request, was the televising of meetings
Yeah.
on Time Warner Cable or whatever, so people can flip through, because every other city can get that 100 times a month, playing that off hour. And I think that this is a big opportunity. I'll be honest, I haven't gone on and clicked at this once.
Oh, well, good for you.
But I've looked at other city council meetings while I'm in front of the television, if there's, what's going on in Rancho Mirage or Palm Desert, just because I see them on the guide. I still think this is a good investment, just like we talked about marketing. We're still gonna do paper, we're still gonna do radio, and we're doing more digital. It's the same capture. Not everybody's gonna go on a computer and do this, but a lot of people are gonna look at it on television because that's where they're spending a lot of their time. And in the spirit of transparency, I see this as another marketing tool. We've got so many things being developed, but from our housing standpoint, or promoting the school component, or what's going on with the bridge at Adams and how that's. I love watching those on Facebook and watching the camera and see how that's progressing. Am I going that way this time or another way? What lane do they have closed? And with Silver Rock coming online, it could serve us well from a televised standpoint, including that, whether it is including the videotaping on the website and or looking at what the cost would be to put it on the TV station. That was the original request. That still is the part that the community says we're not doing from the only city in the valley. Granted, we at least have them now being videotaped, which is great, and an access besides just the recording, but I think we need to explore that a step further.
Well, I don't disagree, Linda, but I'm concerned spending money and it's not gonna be used. Is there anything that we can do to promote the usage of televising or videotaping the council meetings? Anything that we can get the interest of our citizens to come online and watch us? And my problem, and I've said it from day one, I'm in favor of doing it, but only if people is gonna watch it. I just don't like spending money and nobody's gonna be watching it. It's crazy, and that's my problem with it. And basically, we've run this test, and if council wants to go on for another year on doing this, hey, that's fine. But I'll tell you one thing, if I don't see an increase in this, I'm just saying, forget it. And I don't care if we are the only city, we're the only smart city in the valley then, that is taking the monies that we use, our tax dollars, and spending it properly. But to throw it down a ash can, on something like this, I can't see it.
We have the option of raising the fees through the
PEG.
The PEG, thank you, through PEG. And we're looking at other options that make.
Well, that's what I said, any
taxes.
other options that we have available to us.
Well, I mean, we were looking at potentially other taxing programs, for instance, lighting and landscaping and all that. I'd like to just see this go for another year and see what happens to the numbers. And then, we can visit whether or not we
So what would in your mind a threshold be that if these numbers reached X, I guess we've got to draw, we better start televising?
Well, maybe at least 25 a meeting.
I mean, because we have to determine, what is that? Is that 25 of the people that are everywhere and involved and engaged, or is it 2,000 people, the same ones that are hitting the like on the Facebook that are doing it?
Well, I don't know.
You've got
I don't know the answer to
just
a lot
under
of them.
40,000 people in this city, and of course that's kids,
Right.
that's everybody,
Right.
and that. But say 15,000 or 20,000 that are would use this.
I'd say 5 to 10,000.
So I would have to get up into those kind of figures to say it was beneficial to the city to spend that kind of money. But, here we got
We
5
got
and 8.
16,500 in the budget, so let's leave it in the budget.
Yeah, I don't mind. If
I don't think
we're
we need to index it right now. Let's just do the same program we're doing
Right.
and then see how it turns out at the end of the year.
And then staff does whatever we can to promote it and get people interested in looking at it.
Yeah, I could go along with that. I still have to concur with the mayor. And I disagree with you, Linda. It's not a marketing tool if nobody's looking at it. I mean, it's just, and why would we do it just because everybody else is doing it? So I think these numbers are scaringly low, but I also think it's a very short window, a very short period of time, and that we need to give it a year and not do the indexing, but leave it in the budget.
And it may be the time of year too, because we're coming down off the season,
Right.
maybe more people will watch it during the season, or maybe they'll watch it when there's other items that you're gonna be discussing that we let people know about, so we can do that as well, sometimes post some of the topics that you're gonna be discussing to maybe drive more people to look at it. We'll try some other things.
Okay, good.
And you'll keep us up on these numbers? Right.
And
We'll bring this back.
continue
We'll
to
bring this back.
see how many hits we get on it.
10 months or so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move on to the fiscal year 2013-2014 budget follow-up. Staff report. Oh, if you don't mind, you need, excuse us. We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
So we'll recess.